Today's story is shocking, not because of what happened, but because of how it happened. Two young women unknowingly walked straight into their own demise. And the most terrifying part? They thought they were making a common sense choice. I'll give you hints along the way, but I'd be surprised if you piece it together before the reveal. Lovers of the strange, the dark, the mysterious, subscribe and step into the shadows with us. Okay, let's get into today's story. It was December 15th, 2021. Two best friends, Sarah and Maya, both 22 years old, drove deep into the snowy mountains of British Columbia. They had just finished their final exams. This was meant to be their week-long celebration. Sarah was the planner, organized, careful. Maya was the spontaneous one. She loved shortcuts and adventure. When they arrived at the cabin, it looked perfect. Remote, quiet, surrounded by snow. But inside, it was freezing. The heat had clearly been off for days. In the middle of the room stood an old wood-burning stove. Beside it, a small pile of firewood. Sarah grabbed a log, struck a match, but the wood was damp. No fire, no warmth. 10 minutes passed. Still nothing. The cabin grew colder. Then Maya said, "Forget this. Let's find our own wood. There has to be dry logs outside." Sarah hesitated. "We're in a national forest. We can't just take wood." Maya, "What's the worst that could happen?" Reluctantly, Sarah agreed. The two put on their jackets and stepped out into the fading light. Just 100 yards down the trail, they found it. A neat stack of perfectly dry, pre-cut logs. Almost like someone had left them there. Maya, "See? Told you." They carried the wood back inside. With a single match, the stove roared to life. Warmth filled the room. For the first time that trip, they could finally relax. They talked, they laughed, and eventually they fell asleep in the comfort of the glowing fire. 2 days later, the cabin owner Robert grew concerned. The girls hadn't replied to his routine check-in messages. He drove to the cabin. A light was on. The door was unlocked. Inside, it was warm, but silent. He called their names. No response. Then he found Sarah and Maya in their bunks. They looked like they were sleeping, but when he touched Sarah, she was cold. Both women were dead. Robert stumbled back, horrified, and called the police. Sergeant Derek Miller arrived with his team. He expected the usual cause of cabin deaths, carbon monoxide. But the detector was new. It was working, and the stove vent was clear. Something else had happened. The girls' lips and noses were streaked with dried blood. There were signs of internal bleeding, not carbon monoxide. Autopsies revealed no common poisons, no drugs, only faint traces of strange chemical compounds. The case went cold, filed as cause of death unknown. Months later, the file landed on the desk of forensic pathologist Dr. Eris Thorne. He focused on the internal bleeding. It pointed to a rare kind of poisoning. Digging deeper, he uncovered a chilling clue. The girls had gone outside to find their own firewood. That firewood wasn't firewood at all. It was construction lumber, treated with a clear, odorless preservative. The preservative contained an organophosphate compound, safe outdoors. But when heated above 500 degrees in a stove, it transformed. It vaporized. It became a lethal, invisible gas. As Sarah and Maya slept, the fumes filled their lungs. Their bodies slowly shut down. By morning, they were gone. It was a tragic coincidence. The treated wood had been left behind for a fence project, The girls mistook it for firewood. And despite this, no one has ever been held accountable. Thank you for watching. What do you think really happened in that cabin? Let me know in the comments.